everybody, and welcome back to Pinned and Broken, a Warpath Universe podcast with a focus on Epic Warpath. I am Drek, and tonight I've got Don, Jordan, and Josh with me, and we're going to talk the Adepticon experience. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Hey. Doing peachy.
Peachy.
Peachy. Yeah.
Well, Adepticon is over, the best 3 or 4 days in wargaming. And we all, in some way, shape, or form, were involved in the Epic Warpath tournament. I got to wear slippers and watch you all play, and then hand out prizes, and you all got to play. So we had 16 spaces. We ended up with 14 locked in. Day of, I had 2 drops, which the one individual that dropped came by to see me like middle of round 1 and informed me that his dad wasn't feeling well, and that's why they didn't show, and wanted to apologize. So, I hope he felt better and got to enjoy the rest of the con. But we ended up with 12 players total. Our top 3 places went to GCPS, Enforcers, and Plague. And overall, it felt like a fairly good experience. I don't recall too many issues, but you guys were at the table. So, Don, why don't we talk about your Epic Warpath tournament experience?
Oh, well, I contributed to the first and second or third place player by almost getting tabled by both. Welcome to both of them, guys. So I was playing around with a plague list, very heavy on assaulting. So my list in general was a Plague Lord, and I paired him up with 2 squads of zombies, and a unit of Leapers, and the Colossus as my bulk of my army, all primarily assault driven. Colossus has ranged vomit, but otherwise. And then filled in the rest with another commander, just a 3A bullshit guy. Unit of ghouls, unit of HMG, unit of Striders, Tank Buster Striders, because I needed something that could have some AP and hopefully shoot some aerial stuff.
Did you encounter any aircraft the entire tournament?
I did.
Oh, did you?
I did, yeah. There were some, my second game had some aerial guys, and then a unit of mules to go, made like a game time decision to whether or not the ghouls or the HMG squad would use them based on what my opponent had. And then a unit of artillery was my list in total. So my game plan was to use the artillery to whittle down some of the backfield while I rushed all of my assault units up the board, and then I just had some shooting in general to help hold some objectives. Tank Busters again to shoot some AP and also any aerial units. In general, I got tabled 2 of my 3 games, pretty much tabled. I had a couple things left, and then also heavy losses on my 3rd game, but not quite as bad.
Yeah, I just pulled up the app. I see you had the unfortunate experience of getting Marcelo round 1, and his GCPS shot, I think, damn near everybody off the table. He had a perfect score in the tournament. He was 3-0 and 25 scenario points in every game. So
yeah, so
it wasn't just you.
The story of tournament for this particular list was that AP was able to shred through my Colossus, making it squishier than I expected, and then blast templates just like riddled all of my assault units as they tried to get up the board. So basically, they were just like down to bare bones by the time they actually got to anything to start attacking it, and lost all their effectiveness, just sort of petered out. So it was very unfortunate to find out that the game was in a current situation doesn't support a heavy assault team for army that has so much assault options.
Sure, it's the game, Don. It's not the player.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I got in a lot of assault.
Well, round 2, Don, you had Corey, who ended up taking 3rd place. So it's not like you
He
you
had
didn't get
very
the best
little.
draw of opponents, did you?
No, I did not. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how much of my loss to them contributed to. Well, Marcelo would have probably won it anyways, but. And so his plague list. So that was another plague list I played round 2. Well, I'll go by I guess by each of the rounds. So Marcelo had GCPS, and he had their mech, which is just ridiculously OP. I think it just stands in the back and points and kills things.
I suspect that when we get a balance pass, the GCPS will probably get a bit of a nerf bat.
It for sure needs a nerf bat, or it needs a nerf bat because the thing, as it stands in most games, can see over everything. So I think it's less about its firepower and more about its range and accessibility.
I feel like if we did a really hard breakdown, we'd find that like Enforcers, Plague, Asterians, Forge Fathers are all in a really good spot because those were the 4 factions that the game was intended to come out with. And then the other 4 factions were add-ons from Stretch Goal. So
it just seems the super heavies weren't as balanced as much as they should be.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like the core rule of the height difference is sort of the issue in general. So
because it can see everything on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
The hiding table or hiding building.
Well, it's not even so much that because it has indirect, and rules as written in the game is you don't have to have visual anywhere on anything to shoot anything direct at anything. Like you can have 0 line of sight from any model and shoot any model indirect.
Oh, right. And you shouldn't have to. I mean, because you're rolling the scatter die and it could go 6 inches off target or land on your own troops. I mean, it's its own risk reward.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, to get back on track here, it was very imbalanced. I lost 3 units turn 1 to his back alone. Like that's insane, yeah. So that was the start of the game, and then from there on out, I had nothing else to do. He just then focused on the Colossus, and once that was gone, I couldn't do anything else.
Run forward and die, right?
Yeah, I just kept scoring wise, I was doing okay until right at the end. So I was doing the best I could to keep it going with the points and try to keep it competitive.
Yeah, no, it was a 25-16 game. It's not like you were blown out. But...
No, yeah, for sure. I did the best I could to score the points. I just ran out of units to score with. So that was round 1. Round 2, played against another plague list. He had a more AP mechanical based shooting list. He did have some leapers. There was the bulk of his assault units, and he also took 2 squads of the I apologize, the helicopter guys.
Hornets,
thank you. Blanking on them, which I enjoyed. Even though I didn't enjoy playing against them, I enjoyed seeing them on the table to find out if it was something I wanted to bring in my army.
Mm-hmm.
I do, yeah, I do like them.
You do have some Hornets, I know for a fact.
Yep, you printed me some Hornets, so I'm going to try them out.
Shh, I didn't print you anything, gosh.
So I'm going to try them out. I do enjoy them, and it kind of makes me think of Drop Zone Commander a little bit, because I definitely miss having some sort of aircraft in the game. Even though this is where the game kind of pigeonholes himself a little bit, because those units I don't think should have to adhere to the normal aircraft rules. Because of the way they're designed, they look like they would be something that can be stationary in the air.
Yeah, well, I mean, the actual 28mm model, you can position the rotors so it can be in a hovering position, and
right. So
does it not have the hover rule?
No. It could land if it's the
the troop variant.
the troop variant or whatever, but otherwise it has to adhere to the same as the jets and stuff like that. So I think that's a bit of a opportunity miss. Hopefully they consider some rules changes in the future to make those a little bit more unique.
Well, I imagine in summer we're going
it's-
to see a balance pass. So
yeah. And so then I kind of ran into the same issue I had during round one. APs just shredded through the Colossus. And we're talking about a unit that is more expensive than the GCPS mech that can shoot anything at once and not have to move into danger. I don't think the unit itself is a bad unit. I think it's very good as far as its stats go. It just needs to be way cheaper, like 50 points cheaper at least. To like,
because how much is it? 410 or
400 points right now?
400 on the nose?
At 350, it's still like if you really want to spend that chunk of change, but it would be worth it to bring it. At 400 points, I'm just missing out on so much that I could be putting on the field of battle.
So I know we played at 1500 on 4x4s, which is a little smaller than what seems to be the popular meta. It seems to be 2000 and north is where a lot of people are wanting to play the game. Do you think that in a 2,000 point game where you're going to have an extra 500 points to toss around on some units that the 400 point Colossus is less underpointed? Or is it just as glaring a problem because now at 2,000 points you can get 2 GCPS walkers in your list?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, it's not worth 400 points.
How does the Plague Walker compare to the GCPS Walker? I mean, they're basically the same unit, aren't they?
Almost exactly the same, and it's cheaper than the Colossus.
Well,
And harder to
I think
kill.
I know what you're taking in the future.
So, but I don't want to though. The Colossus is a good unit. It's not takeable. It's not usable at 400 points.
Well, at 2,000 points, you can take them both.
Well, yeah. Then at that point, then yes.
Well, round 3, you ended up with Dwight, so you got to see GCPS twice in the same tournament. But GCPS was the most populous faction in our tournament. Is that because GCPS is broken, or because everyone just got their armies and was super excited to put them on the table? Or
I think GCPS is your generic army, so I think a lot of people gravitate towards them. And I think I don't know that Marcelo would have GCPS if he wasn't able to use that mech. I think that was kind of his selling point. I would guess.
Well, I mean, he went undefeated, so I don't think the map mattered to him too much.
So Dwight was a great competitor, very cool to play against. Everybody was fine to play against. But Dwight was a really cool dude. Enjoyed our game. Very different GCPS left. It was he had 2 squads of Wolverines and what else did he have in his list? I'm trying. Two squads of the bikes and a lot of infantry. And so that was the game I survived the most against, but primarily because he didn't have a lot of height advantage, so the Colossus was actually able to get around the board a little bit. I was able to I think that table also helped a bit as far as getting around.
Have a little more cover for him.
Yeah, so I was able to push that game pretty close. Again, that one was a excuse me, a pretty close down to the last round-ish type of situation. The only game I got totally blown out in was game 2. So that was not only in kills but also points. I got just slaughtered.
No, you were 25-20 on scenario points turn 2. But you were 1155 to 100 in kill points. Yeah, you got wrecked.
Did I keep it that close? I thought I got totally spanked in the.
Yeah, no, none of your games were double-digit blowouts. It was only a 4-point game in round 2. I'm sorry, 5-point game in round 2, and round 3 it was a 6-point game. So you were close in every game.
Maybe I'm just thinking because of in that second game he capped out pretty quickly. Anyway, so I think that also kind of is, since the scenarios are very close in general, it doesn't take a lot of brain power to think about what you should be doing.
Wait, are you saying they were bad scenarios?
No, I'm saying that just scenarios in general like are pretty close because using the same objective types, and so other than the kill points in the third mission, there's really nothing different about what you were trying to achieve.
I was trying to give a little variety there at the end, Don.
Well, the table layouts. I mean, we had quarter deployment, which changes it up quite a bit. So that was my 3 games. Disappointed that my list didn't do better. I didn't go in expecting to win anything, so like I wasn't like I fell short of any winning goals. I was just hoping that the list would have just done better in general, just because that's how I want to play my army.
Do you think that now that you've got 2 tournaments that you've played and a better understanding of Plague, the rules, that the next Plague list you are going to have something that's a bit more optimized and can slot in the things that you want and feel are going to make it better?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put in more AP units. So Wolverines gonna have to go in. Those Hornets are
We said
probably gonna have to
Wolverine
go
so
in.
many times, and Jordan hasn't quoted Red Dawn once.
Wolverines.
Thank you.
So yeah, there's definitely like I don't want to say the game is forcing a balanced list, but it is forcing you to think more about having. I would say in general that your armor-piercing units need to outweigh your non-armor-piercing units. It seems like in the game.
I think it was Dan I was talking to that suggested that if you wanted to play Plague Heavy Assault like you were, that you might want to try to take advantage of the reserves rule so that you can bring them in off the side of the table.
Yes.
After turn 2, turn 3, and maybe rush into a more advantageous position.
It would work for like a couple of squads, but it's also scenario dependent. So like it's different if I'm sitting down and playing with friends and we pick a scenario and I don't build a list for it. But I can't rely on that for like a tournament, you know.
Well, I know 2 of the missions had reserve options in it. No one in the tournament bothered with anything in reserve that I know of.
Yeah, because reserves is pointless.
But thinking about your Colossus, if you'd have brought your Colossus in towards the backboard off the side on turn 2 or 3, you'd have spared it a ton of shooting and allowed it to kind of charge into the midst of an army immediately rather than have to trudge up board and getting plugged away at. It's just a thought.
Yep. But also, yeah, that kind of goes back to like you need better, I guess. And so I'm not like saying that. I don't know. I'm trying to not complain about it, but I wasn't able to play my army the way that I feel like it should have the option to be played.
It didn't feel like the overwhelming swarm that
Yes, exactly.
that washes over everybody. No, I get you.
So if you're giving me so many tasty assault units, and then you're telling me that I can only ever bring a few of them,
and race them up the board.
Yeah. So then don't get me started on transports, dude. It seems like those are just dead on arrival. I've tried 2 tournaments now to use transports, and I think in one game they were actually semi-useful for getting somebody up. I was able to get my HMGs up to mid-table into a building, turn 1, to sit on a objective building. That was about the only useful thing I've done
As
with
an
it.
enforcer player, I just, and I think Josh can echo with this with Forge Fathers, I just use go, 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 and why bother with the transport? And what Josh, unnatural sprinters, if you need to get there, you're going to get there.
Yeah, I don't see the point of transfers. I could almost slightly say Veerman tunnelers because they're actually pretty good in an assault, but I still don't know it's worth taking them to do that.
And I can certainly see like a Draken being useful to orbital drop in the backboard, or even like your drop fortress or drop troopers, your hammer fists coming in with orbital. But that's not a transport. That's just orbital drop.
Yeah. The orbital drop guys are actually good for the dwarves, but
And I flirt with the idea of accusers in an enforcer list, like racing them up board and dropping off some peacekeepers. But at the same time, it's like,
I'm looking forward to see if the Hornets as a transport option are useful, because they're going to be able to get pretty far up the board with the units.
I don't know that a lot of people are stuffing a lot of specific AA units into their list. So that +2 to hit is definitely a big deal if a lot of armies shooting on 6s, 5s. I mean,
and you need a range 16 gun to shoot.
and you
But
need a range 16 gun to shoot.
Yeah. So some gaps in the game for sure to deal with. Making. I don't want this to be a game where like there are just dead units in the game. Like,
Right. Well, and we all kind of came to this looking to fill that void from drop zone. And when we left drop zone, one of the problems we were having is you were getting those dead units because of new units or bad writing. And it was a game where every unit had value and you could build a list. Like most lists were not identical. You might have had some core units that, like as a PHR player, yeah, you brought Phobos because Phobos were the best AA you had, but Helios weren't bad. And
yeah, so like your plastic starter sets have all these transports in them, and you're going to tell players like, yeah, those are in there, but don't even bother to build them.
hey, they're scatter terrain.
So that's what I don't want to see with the game, and now that you have a little bit of an ear,
I ain't got
then
shit.
I would like to,
Um,
voice an opinion on making units. At least somebody can use them for something, So,
well,
anyways, that was my three. That was my three
I'm
games.
gonna plug you with more questions. As far as like the tournament structure went, any feedback on that? Like,
No, I think it was a pretty standard tournament feel. I think the time frame we were given was maybe a little tight, but it was also hard to say because the game is so new with the meta and people were still learning, some things. There were some rules questions on probably most games. I mean, you can kind of chime in on that if you had to walk over to some tables quite often. I know I called you over a couple times.
yeah, I didn't have a ton of TO calls. You called me a couple of times. Sam called me a couple of times, but there were not a lot of rule issues. 2.5 hours was a number that I heard quite a bit. A lot of people felt an extra half an hour for the game rounds would have been.
I think
really
that
nice.
would have been very decisive for a lot of games.
Yeah, so I definitely think I'll push that for next
It's also
year.
hard to say too, though, because at 2.5 rounds, that's kind of pushing how much time you want to give for a tournament round, and we're playing at 1,500 points instead of what the meta seems to be pushing for around 2,000, 1,750. So yes, a half hour would be great, but if you're adding another 250, 500 points of units onto the table, is that gonna like chew up that last half hour and still feel anemic, or
So,
what to see?
and I think this is the general thing with all Mantic games, right? Because the way setup is, deployment is so reactionary. Even fast players, I feel like it's you're at least 30 minutes before you're rolling dice on turn one. Just because you're so reactionary with the deployment.
Yeah.
Placing you're placing the objectives and there's thinking there, and then you may or may not have to flip table sides, and then you have to think a moment on, all right, this is the side of the table I ended up with, and these are the objectives, so how do I want to deploy out? And the back and forth of then deploying everyone's units, especially if someone's thinking a bit more about what's going out.
Yeah, so that might be a scenario where for competitive play, rules might need to be a little more structured.
Yeah, I have, even just talking about deployment, right? The more I dwell on it, I despise having the recon roll being tied to having the odd number of an objective. I think all tournaments should have even number of objectives going forward.
4 or 6 instead of 5.
Yes.
Or 4.
Don and I were discussing before the start of the podcast that altering it so that I liked 5 because the objectives kind of play into that pregame a little bit, but I suggested maybe 3 of them are set in the scenario, and then each player only places 1 objective.
It does put a bunch of undue weight on, like, if you know you have a significant advantage on the recon roll, it can almost
it's
mean
game winning.
Roll is the only roll of the game that matters.
And some armies will walk into the tournament showering command dice, and some just won't. And there's no fix to that.
Because it's the same player that wins the recon roll gets to place more objectives and pick their side.
Correct.
So you're both, well, collectively, you seem to be suggesting static objective placement for the scenario for tournament play, so that it's not even a consideration. You're just recon rolling for side and.
Well, it means if it's even numbers, you can still.
You can move things. Yeah, you can move things around, but if it's an odd number kills.
Okay.
You almost want the person that gets to pick the side gets to place less objectives. Like doing both, it's just unwieldy, unfair.
Okay. That kind of goes back to the time frame situation, though. Like, are we wanting people to sit there and like eyeball? Like, there are some players they're just going to sit there and get out their measuring stick and try to figure out which side is going to be the best, and they're going to just chew up 15 minutes of time just messing around with that stuff. I think we just need to hit the table. You can choose your side right away just by look.
Well, gentlemen, there's an easy way to test this, and that could be I run another tournament, and when I build the scenario pack, I place all the objectives on the table, and we see how it plays.
Only we had experience writing rules based on feedback from extensive tournament structuring.
Don't be a salty bitch on this podcast, Don.
Crazy talk.
Yeah, it's like we know what we're doing. But anyway, yes, that is a very good way to test new rules. Is to do it in friendly settings where people aren't going to get upset about it. You know, these casual tournaments are perfect for this stuff.
Well, you
place it out there. Place it out there for other people to try as well, so that way different metas get to try it out and give their feedback. That is just a good system.
We are surprisingly blessed with a pretty active community in about a 3 hour bubble of us, or at least of me. So I certainly think that Joel was already asking me if I was going to do another tournament since I've got one coming up in April. But yeah, I think maybe June. We'll shoot for May, June. I know Origins is in June, but I don't know. A lot of people may not want to go to Origins. That's a different conversation, and we're burning hours. Jordan, let's move on to you and your tournament experience. Round 1, you faced off against Dwight, and based off of the score sheet here, you did unkind things to him.
So it wasn't extremely killy, although I did.
No, it wasn't. He actually outkilled you by 20 points.
Yeah, not by much. There was a fair amount of whittling down. In fact, because of range a little bit, he kind of had me on the ropes turn 1. Whittled down quite a few units. He could have easily killed a lot more of my stuff than he did. And then, the next turn, it kind of circled back. His rolls weren't as good, and mine were slightly better.
Let me pause your thought there. I didn't mention Everyone probably knows Jordan plays Marauders. Dwight was playing GCPS.
That game really came down to, again, objective placement and the timing of everything. And
Did you win the recon roll?
I think so. I know the way the board was it, I mean, it was even enough. They were fairly. It wasn't weighted too the way it got set up. It wasn't too far off. If I remember right, I put the first one like dead center of the board, just to force aggression because I was kind of a little more assault heavy than he was.
Yeah, I saw those Ripper Maulers.
And then, I want to get back to my list. I can never remember the orders and special rules. So, for better or for worse, because it kind of got me into positions where I could get fired on quite easily. I tend to play fairly aggressively. I was using one step ahead, which is pretty awesome rule for the Marauders in that if you can save command points till the end of the round, you can get either a free advance or a free sprint at the end of a round. So, pretty much any infantry you can have over halfway across the board, turn one.
Yeah, that doesn't suck.
I mean, more than that, because you have scout, you should be at halfway turn one before you start.
Well, it depends on what I'm moving forward. It's a give and take because Marauder troops are not very defensible. Not saying they're any worse than most other baselines, right? But it is just the armor 5.
Don't necessarily want to put them in the firing squad round one.
Right. There's a couple troop choices that are granted a bit more expensive that are a little hardier. So no, I was more often moving like my Ripper Maulers or Ripper Rainmakers up to put them in a better position to either charge or just use all of their firepower on the later turns.
Why is there anything in your list other than Rainmakers?
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Firefight.
well, I mean that's a further discussion for this.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to open a can of worms.
Rainmakers, because they are, they shoot a lot, but they are extremely expensive at 255 points. Also, being a specialist, everyone has troop tax and to open up the slots for other stuff. But it even and it would open up it in a larger list, right? But point efficiency wise, I feel like most armies have those units that really shine. I feel like I want to take 3 or 4 of the different support options, but at 1,500 points, I literally have like 200 points left.
Right.
Like it's really hard for me to take unless I'm doing a non, and I did a non-heavy list. But if I take heavies, I'll be lucky if I can even take one support choice just because of what you got to take to open up the slot. So, I know that's going to involve a lot more time, but I think all the armies across the board of who has many and what specific troop choices versus specialist choices versus support choices of, what roles of what open up what for who. Like long range blast at an early access point and troop and specialist is there for certain armies, but not for others.
Well, I think some of those holes might get plugged in the summer with the game expansion because everyone will get some new units. So hopefully that will plug in some of those missing holes that you're worried about.
So back to the games though, being tournament setting and kind of dusting off the cobwebs, we didn't really get that far in the game. So it was really anyone's game. And it really could have swung the other way with the next turn, depending on, who knocked the next couple of units out. And that's something I've kind of observed in Epic so far is once you start getting ahead a little bit, it tends to snowball. It doesn't always, but a lot more often than not, it does.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess a lot of games are like that, where when everything's there, it's pretty close, but then it can, significantly change in a heartbeat. And it once momentum goes one way, it tends to stay that way.
I've been happy enough
Well,
to
round
at
two.
least feel competitive for 3 rounds. If I totally crap the bed after the next 2 rounds, that's one thing that's on me. But I don't think I've ever played a game so far where, like, turn 1, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So
I've not felt that too much.
Did you feel that in round 2? I mean,
I did a little bit.
I'm looking at the scenario points, and 25-18, the game looked pretty close. But then I scoot over to enemy kills, and I see that Marcelo may have tabled you that game.
There was no May. He did table me.
by which
Or
round?
did the battle mech table you?
Yeah,
So,
that was
corner deployment, the objective types, and the corners that we ended up randomly rolling to deploy from all made it just open range. We could have called round 2.
Sorry, dude.
I
know my recap video that I just did. I got some footage of games during round 2, and I walked over to that table and I could just see the look on your face, like you were not having fun that round.
Well, it was
There's about a half hour left in the game, and you're just looking at the table like I have nothing to do here.
Yeah, like the first turn and a half weren't so bad because I was able to move more. And granted, what Marcelo's units were, he essentially set up a firing line and waited for me to start moving towards him, cleared me out, and then he came after I was gone for all the center objectives. It could have been a bit closer if he wouldn't have rolled hot and cleared a few of the units as quickly as he did. But no, I was overly aggressive and had not zero, but close to zero blocking terrain because the
battle mech.
It's also easy to roll hot when you can double your shots.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, I watched the round 3 battle report of Marcelo and Tom, and his dice were not being very kind to him in round 3. So
deserved. He had 2 rounds of.
He was working for it round 3. Speaking of your round 3, Jordan, you got the Swedish Giant. The first time we utter Patrick's name, you got to face off against the Asterians I gave him. How did he beat you?
He did.
You got beat by the Epic Virgin, man. What? Did you not read the scenario, play the objective, and win? That's the Swedish way of winning these games. It's documented.
So there was a bit of back and forth. Again, rolls were slightly out of my favor, but not so much. A little positional. It was very close, but where we got that one could have swung either way as we continued, right? We hadn't gotten far enough. But how everything deployed out and what the firing lines were, he through the turns that we played, he ended up with better angles to where the objectives got placed. And a couple of hot rolls, I think he did kind of start to pull away on kill points, but I think we still were only about a third of the way through our armies.
630 to 225.
How'd you fare against the super heavy?
Well, it didn't get broken, so I got that going for me.
Yeah. So it was kind of out of position. I don't want to say it was a non-factor because it did come in and chew some stuff up late game. If I remember right, I got
it tore into some of your brawlers, or not your brawlers, your ripper maulers.
I think I got through some of the the extra damage points. What are they called?
Resilience.
But not quite.
Not enough to make a
Yeah,
difference.
3 resilience is pretty strong on a super heavy.
Well, and the Asterians have a pretty decent save, and if he had a Narsa backing it up, and he can bump his save with the command point, and yeah, Asterians can be a little bit glass hammery, but if you're saving your command points for those re-rolls or buffs, then that's not so bad.
Yeah, I don't think because all the high amounts of saves on average, I don't think they're actually that glass hammery. I think they're pretty hardy.
I'd have to go back and look, but I think I got Patrick's was it Bllod Warden or whatever down to 0 resilience when we ended the game.
You guys played, because I'm looking back at round 1. I guess we can move into that. Josh, you had Patrick round 1.
Well, I did have Patrick round 1.
Classic Forged Fathers versus Asterians.
I mean, I don't want to stomp on Jordan's the rest of his thing.
Oh, did Jordan have more?
I mean, not necessarily. Other than, I mean, if I remember correctly, like because you're talking about glass cannons, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he had mostly Cipher Wardens. Which
no, there were no Cipher. There was one squad of Cipher Wardens in that list.
Okay.
There were 2 squads of Marionettes, some
Okay.
How did can I ask how Patrick said that with his Swedish accent? Because I can't say it with my shitty Ohio accent.
I don't know that he said it that often.
Did it just sound like Borka Borka?
Right. But with that,
I love you, Patrick.
His infantry were no more hardy than mine, right? Or no less hardy than mine, so you can't call them glass cannons.
Well, you better have been backing them up with that Narsa, so they got their free 7+ save all the time.
Well, and with that, it made them more hardy.
All right, should I move on to Joshua?
Oh, you can. I mean, we're through my 3 games, right? So I guess I can comment on my list a little bit. This time through, I decided not to take a heavy because I had the heavy in the previous tournament.
Yes. Did you regret that choice?
A little bit. It didn't feel like I had that much more. But that was, I think, Ripper tax on how many Rippers I chose to take. You don't think about it. You think the super heavies are pretty expensive, but at the same time, like when I went back and looked at.
But you traded a super heavy for a squad of Rainmakers and Commandos?
Yes, right. And it doesn't feel like a squad of Rainmakers and Commandos is anywhere equal to what a heavy is. So, does that mean the heavies pointed too high or too low, or or the troops and is it more of a proportion thing all around, right?
I don't know. I don't play enough Epic to know. I'm gonna play in that April tournament and find out if my Maven's worth a damn. But
Do you think super heavies should be limited to lists that have 3?
I'm saying Ripper Rainmakers are really good and probably point effective versus what my troop costs are. But
Just don't like getting shot at by super heavies.
but
Does
then
it-
comparing it to the super heavies that I've encountered and the points that they are, like either the troops and the specialists seem less point efficient versus the Chimera gunship for the Marauders, or maybe the opposite of the Chimera seems too efficient point wise.
Yeah, I wonder if at that 1,500 point level, super heavy should even be a viable option.
well, I mean, they eat a 30-year list in most cases, so taking
But
one.
Jordan's saying at this, even at 1,500 points, he felt like it wasn't worth not
Right.
having it.
What I'm saying is at 1,500 points, I mean, it's pushing a 30-year list to commit to a super heavy.
But also, it was only 125 point difference between taking a Chimera versus taking Rainmakers.
Right.
It in some ways it makes the Rainmakers feel really expensive, and the super heavies less expensive, a little bit. Also, if as I'm comparing list to lists, and you were talking about glass cannon of the Asterians versus the Marauders. Those cheap old marionettes are stat identical to Commandos and 25 points cheaper, and have the ability to get a save from their
Nars attacks.
yeah. So
You've got Scout. Don't discount Scout.
I'm not discounting Scout. I'm just
Discount scouts.
I'm just saying Marauders, I believe, are more glass cannons than Asterians. That's all I'm saying.
That I'd agree if a Nars is around or whatever it's called.
Well,
The
even
Nars
with
is what it's called.
the Rippers seem so hardy, right? But they're specialists and they're only they are armor 7, but they're not heavy.
Only armor 7.
But I mean, they didn't feel like it, right?
They're not peacekeepers. I understand.
I will say Forge Fathers with armor 6 walking around in the field. I feel okay. I feel comfortable.
It's good armor.
Yeah.
Joshua, should we move on to you, or Jordan? Do you have more thoughts?
No, I'm good.
All right.
All right. Well, I took Forge Fathers, made a slight tweak from the list that we played in your store the month prior. Really, the only thing I did was I got rid of my Iron Ancestors, one of my Halter half tracks, and my flyers, and slotted in 2 units of Juggernauts who are solid. I love those guys. They're like
With a name
50,
like Juggernaut.
I know they're 50 points cheaper than Iron Ancestors, and Iron Ancestors are way better, but for 50 points cheaper, Juggernauts are no slouch. And I brought the Jotun weapon platform because I was like, you know what? I need a ranged weapon platform that's going to be a backline objective keeper.
How'd that work out, Josh?
Well, I went to the tournament and realized that they've got a unit strength of 0-0. So yeah, they don't claim them objectives I had wanted them to do.
Oh wait, I
So
got something for that.
yeah, slight oversight, but the list actually performed really, really well. Round one, I did fight the Asterians with Patrick, and
Do a
he,
draw.
yes.
Question
So
mark.
it's on video, but I was winning the. I should have won the game at the end, but it upon close examination, you will see that I actually move away a scoring unit from an objective because we got talking about a second objective and scoring that,
Oh, he
and
distracted you.
he distracted me, and
You just trickery.
he used not only the Asterian trickery, he used Swedish trickery. Um,
The
and I
Swedish
got,
are devious and devilish people.
they really are. Too many years playing him got me so worked up on about keeping one objective. I walked off the other. So I should have won round one, but we ended in a draw. But I think if the game had continued on, it would have tilted in the Forge Father's favor more heavily. Um, so I was okay with how things went there. Game two was against, I
Patrick
believe
and
his
his
name was
yes.
Patrick, again with GCPS. And here is where I ran into GCPS is just slightly better in areas, or at least I'm seeing the differences between playing against an enforcers list, playing against a GCPS list, and then playing Forge Fathers. The Forge
Whoa.
Fathers just don't have the range, so they have to go forward and get shot first before they get to do anything. And that
You
that
ended with a
stings.
6-point game with almost out killing them 3-1.
Yes. So here's where I think Forge Fathers excel. We do damn well in assaults. We do really, really well with our walkers. Our walkers are powerhouses, and you can run them 12 inches up the table with the unnatural sprinters. You get them in a building, they're just annoying as all hell. And
You get
that
4 more inches than my zombies, who have no other thing to do but run up the field and die.
Well,
well,
that's because they're
zombies
not
aren't.
unnatural sprinters.
Yeah, they're not known for their unnatural sprinting.
Depends on what brand of zombies you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't have was it 28 days later zombies? Aren't those the
They are
fast ones?
28 days later zombies. These are infected zombies, not undead.
But the Forge Fathers do really well. I think all of my command points go into unnatural sprinters. I don't bring a transport. Every command point is just run up the table. When I did spend command points, it was to reroll saves, and this is the second tournament in a row. Rerolling saves did like jack squat for me. That
Huh.
I might have made like rerolled one save the entire time. It was painful. But in my game two, and this is another one of those where if we had another half hour of play, like I think it would have been an even more decisive victory. I did win versus the GCPS, but I'm kind of impressed with how they work and how well
I have you
Wolverines
listed as a
are.
loss against GCPS, Josh.
What?
I show that you were a 24-18 loser against the GCPS.
I thought I won.
Did you play GCPS round 3?
I did. Yeah, and I thought I went.
Yeah, you played Felix in his GCPS round 3.
Yeah,
You won
and
round
I,
3. You lost
and
round 2.
I lost round 2. I thought I
Yeah,
won round 2.
won 1 and 1.
No, I think I drew and won 1, or drew and won 2. Did you screw up
Well,
my record? I'm gonna have to watch
Oh
the video
man,
again.
you have to watch your
I'm gonna have to
watch
go
your
watch that
scoring
video.
there.
I thought I won.
that
You're
could
planning on
have
changing the
changed.
score?
That could have changed everything. Did you
Uh,
enter your score correctly into the app?
I believe so.
Tournament results have you drawing, then losing, then winning.
Maybe it's been a couple of weeks. I thought I won. Was the
You have
score
your
real close?
You could have been drunk. It
No, I
was
wasn't drinking that day.
It was 24-18. GCPS win. You had 290 kill points to his 110.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking if we had gone the extra half hour, it would have been solid.
I do recall
in
at the end
my
of that battle
favor.
report that he had made a comment that if you guys had another turn, you would have scored something and probably won it.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. How many
There's
turns
a lot
did you
of
guys make
gaming.
it through? It was a lot of gaming.
4 or 5. I
It was
think.
only 5 rounds in the game, so
Well, it could go to 6, can it?
um,
I don't
generally
think
it
in a
can, but the
you
tournament
can't.
pack listed that it ended in round 5.
Oh. I think maybe we got to 4 then. Well, so anyways, if I did end up losing, which sounds like I did, it was pretty close, but one of those things where that extra half hour would have made a huge difference because
Right.
dwarves have to run up and take the punches first.
Do you think that
Yeah.
your go command
Unnatural sprinters.
or a natural sprinter, sorry, is it that good, or is it just the other ones you have options for are just not really worth the points?
It's really good because it lets me threat farther, right? Like I can assault up to 12 inches with my walkers, and my walkers are no slouches. We've only got 3 strategic orders to play with. The one is reroll saves. The Born of Fire one is okay. You can pin people throwing grenades at them. And then you just have unnatural sprinters. We don't have anything else to spend our strategic or our command points on.
How many points is your sprinters?
1.
One.
I
Okay.
don't think it should be more than 1.
Do you get to take a combat token after that?
No.
Okay.
It's just you add 3.
I was curious because enforcers have a go and it allows you to take a sprint action and then you get a combat token, but it costs 2 unless you have a maven, and then you can get it for 1.
Yeah, no, it's a 1, but dwarves are starved for command dice. So
Same. I feel the same way. The plague.
I don't know what that feels like.
Well, yeah. I mean, two orange is spicy for dwarves. And then round 3, I was playing against
You had Felix and his GTPS.
Yes. That one was a very interesting game. I almost brought down his walker. I think I stripped it of all of its resilience as well. I feel like his dice betrayed him, that he should have been punching a little bit harder. But I was able to hold the objectives. Like I think there's a big score difference if I remember right.
Excuse me, I had a cough there. Let's see, round 3, Josh.
What is blast? Just not like doing
20.
anything against you.
Well, so blasts still have to roll to hit, and
Yeah, I know.
25-18 final, Josh, for round 3.
That wasn't too far different then.
705 to 450 kills.
Yeah. So there was a lot of, he got a lot of my units down to like one model, but couldn't quite kill them. So I had like 3 or 4 units just wandering around my backfield trying to get away from his.
Wandering around, pinned and broken.
Well, no, they weren't pinned or broken because the Forge Father Universal Special Rule actually helped a lot.
No, they couldn't have been broken because you can't get broken in Epic, right? So.
But Forge Fathers,
podcast, right?
I mean, it should have been Inspire itself, and I'll die on that hill. But the Forge Fathers command of on a 5+ when you get a pin marker, just ignore it. That popped off a lot. I don't know what that's actually called.
It's basically headstrong, but
Farangir overcomes. But that popped off a lot during the tournament, and so that was good. Overall, I'm really happy with the dwarves. There is a lot of internal list imbalance, and in scenario play, I think dwarves stink because our only long range weapon that we can actually use to score points is the magma destroyer. It's got like a range of 36 inches. Yeah. Everything else you have to get within the 24 inches, and there's so many times playing on the table that 24 inches, there's nothing in range.
Tom, one of the other Forge Father players, brought a magma destroyer. One of the funny scenarios I saw was he was playing Dan, and his enforcers were garrisoning up in the building, and the magma destroyer rolled up and deleted one of the buildings. Like I saw everything set up, and I came back, and the building was flipped over, and all of Dan's units were out of buildings.
But yeah, I mean, there's overall, I think you can win with Forge Fathers. I think they're good and great. There's just internal consistency errors, like our standard troops, the Steel Warriors, fine, great, good. Everything else blows, besides Thorgrim. But all the other choices are just awful, and you'd never select them. But our walkers are good. Our tanks are good, except for the was it Brander assault vehicles? Those things suck. So yeah, I mean, I'll have to play some lists with Forge Fathers, but I think I'm moving back to Rats or the Squiddies.
I knew you were eyeballing Squiddies, but I think collectively, though, I can say after listening to you guys talk about 9 games now, that collectively, game's in a good spot, just needs a balance pass.
Yeah, rules wise, there were no issues. The only core rules thing I have an issue with, well, 2 if you count the recon rolls for placing odd number of objectives, would be the line of sight being the 4 higher variant thing for line of sight. That's a dumb rule, and I'll still continue to say that's a dumb rule.
I don't know what happened. Someone at Mantic decided they hated Pythagoras, and that was the end of it. Because, that issue persists in Firefight for us collectively as well. So
you can adjust that somewhat, but not completely with
terrain
and clarity of terrain. I wish base book like building descriptions for sizes were a bit more explicit rather than generalities.
I think for competitive standards, Jordan, what I'm going to start doing is using that Goblin Hobby stamping kit I got, and I'm just going to stamp a 6, 8, or 4 on the roof of every building when I paint it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Way, there's no question.
And adjusted for what the height of infantry is, right? Like,
Well, and we were discussing this earlier. Some of that Corvus 6 mil stuff I bought is going to be way bigger than what would be considered an 8, but I believe 8 is the maximum height the game allows for. So
Correct, and it's small buildings should be 4, medium buildings should be 6, and large buildings
Yeah.
should be 8. So, like as a tournament pack set point, right? Like when you're defining what the terrain is, I think, yeah, like if you're stamping the building, right? Like explicit intent of this is the height that this is meant to be.
right, I think I'm going to ditch those cool little Shinsing stackables that I had. As much as I like them aesthetically, there was a lot of questions about them in tournament play, and rather than have there be questions, I'm just going to go and print more buildings and ruins.
Were those the area terrain, not area?
Yeah,
terrain
you can treat this as one large structure or a forest,
Yeah.
however you guys agree to do it. I mean, I didn't care. I don't think it broke any games, but as fun as they are for me visually,
Kind
to
of did
set
in my
up and
game
up,
because the first game I played against Marcelo, he claimed groupings of what I would consider scatter terrain to be a building.
Yeah.
And I think that if it's going to be a structure that you can be within, it needs to have a base, a definable base.
So yeah, I mean that's on me for basically just trying to make sure I had terrain and trying to diversify the terrain so that the tables had a little variety. But
No,
now that I've
they
got
looked good. I think, yeah, it's just like Jordan is saying, there's just too much variation in what they can be that without them being explicitly defined.
I'll probably move
yeah.
away from the official Mantic terrain in that regard too. I mean, it's fine, but I think I have far too many better options to 3D print that will travel better and probably look better as a cohesive table. So that's probably the direction I'll move forward.
Well, because
Not
visually,
that I'm already thinking about Adepticon 27, but
visually it's kind of weird too, right? Like what the density that the book says it's supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to have what is it? On a 6x4 table, each quadrant was supposed to have like 4 6x6 buildings, but their official buildings are nowhere near 6x6.
yeah, something like that. And I think I don't think we had a bad density of terrain on the tables. I think they all looked and played fairly well.
I think they could have been slightly more dense. They weren't overly light, but they were by no means heavy. And maybe it's just the tables that I ended up on. But
No,
do you think? Do you think in the future a tournament pack would sort of determine a ratio of building sizes? Could that be something we consider, like a certain percentage of them are height 8 to height 6 to height 4 or whatever?
I mean, I certainly could make notes of it. Are you asking like if I'm writing tournament packs for other organizers or just for myself?
No, I'm saying in general, like, because then we're talking about, like, you know, if we're gonna provide.
I wouldn't do ratios. I think I would just clearly call each building out as a 4, 6, 8.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing I'm gonna do.
But if height 8 is the only thing that's gonna stop us, just in general, since if we brought up so much, if the GCPS map can only be blocked by a height 8 building, essentially.
Yeah, and the key would be is like, okay, well, I want at least 4 height 8 structures on there, but I also want to make sure they're at least like 15 inches apart because.
So if the guy with that map goes to round 2 and then there's no height 8, but let's say they're all height 4 buildings, then that's just a totally screwed game right there.
And then that also, if you're ballsy enough to bring a demolisher unit in your list, then it's like, oh well, I'm gonna demolish their height 8 building over there and clear out that line of sight, and there's some tactical play there. If you've got a demolisher unit, I think everybody's literally got one.
Does everybody have one?
No,
not really.
Enforcers have it on
the. That's a fairly rare rule at the moment. Same thing with your AA.
You have it on your Colossus, Don.
Yeah, but I have to survive to get up there to do it.
Yeah, dwarves have it on the Magma Destroyer.
Right.
I don't know if Asterians have it. Yeah, Asterians have it on the Shade. Or I'm sorry, the Assassin.
Which is fine. I'm happy with that rule staying premium.
The Marauders don't have it at all.
Well, that's because the Marauders suck, Jordan. You should play a better army.
Jesus.
I mean, I guess maybe it should, right? It's not that I suck. It's that my army sucks. That's it.
You don't need to blow up buildings to win.
They have a better way to fire, though.
No.
How many shots does your flying mobile base get?
So that is ridiculous, and the Rainmakers are ridiculous. But
Okay, then yes, all right.
But on average, the Marauders do not have any more.
That's what you got in exchange. It doesn't get to blow up a building, but it can shred whatever the hell is in a building.
Well, real quick here. Final results for the tournament. Marcelo came in at first with 120 tournament points and a 3-0 record with 3880 kill points. Then Dan came in second place with his Enforcers at 117 tournament points, a 3-0 record, and 2540 kill points. And then finally Corey with his Plague, 96 tournament points, 2-0-1 record, and 2350 kill points. Sam, who won our Adepticon pregame, came in at 92 tournament points, a 1-0-2 record, and he took home best sporting and best painted. I just wanted to spit that out so I could close this window. Sorry.
No,
all those guys.
Yeah, they all deserved it, and as was said earlier, everybody was really fun opponents. Just even hobnobbing with different people that I've never met before. Everybody was very kind, welcoming, asking about lists. Because people haven't played X Army because they've only been playing their locals, and they got to experience new things there at Adepticon. So
yeah, I think that also played in a little bit to the time frame starvation that we had. People were also having to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, well, I said this in my recap video I did was it was a really easy tournament to run, and it was a really easy group of guys to run it for. So yeah, that was. It seemed like everybody had a good time. Rick told me afterwards that all the feedback he got on the event was excellent. So I felt pretty good about it. It looked like everyone was having a good time. It didn't seem like there was any hurt feelings or bad attitudes. So hopefully we do it again next year and it's even better.
How did you feel about your first year of Adepticon with this game?
How did I feel about it?
Yeah.
I just said. No, I was pretty happy with it. I would have liked to have sold out, but it's what it is. I mean, we had sold out, and then we weren't sold out, and then it filled back up. So I mean, and that happens with every event every year.
How did the big game go? Because I was off doing other things, but you had the other stuff happening over the weekend.
Round one of the big game went really well. I had all three instances sold out, and round one, all 6 players showed up. And it was funny because it's 3 separate games, just one like big cohesive table. I thought the table looked really cool, especially with all the models on it. I ended up leaving it up all weekend. I didn't pack it up until Sunday morning. But the first instance of it, the guys playing each other were just old school war gamers. I went through round 1 with them, and they didn't bother to ask another question until there was like a keyword question. And they just tore each other up and played a game. The next pair were both Kickstarter backers who hadn't gotten on the table yet, generally familiar with the game, just wanted to actually play it. And then like the third table were two groups of people who had never played it at all. They were checking it out because they wanted to check it out and see if they wanted to get into it. And I mean, they sold out of Epic starters at the booth. So if that says anything, both of those events did well enough to get enough attention to get people to buy the game. So on top of that, they were running demos at the booth. So Epic had a really good showing Round 2 of the big game, only 3 of the 6 showed up, so I actually got to play a game. I got to play Enforcers against Dan, who won second place in the tournament. I think he has a Plague Army, and he wanted to play them and see how they played. So I played against him with Enforcers, and I kicked his butt. So I'll take that.
I will say that I played against Patrick using just those 2 lists. He played Enforcers, I played my Plague, and your Bliss were not balanced. So I'll add to that.
Is that because I have no idea how to build a Plague list, or I'm too good at building Enforcer lists?
I can't really tell. I would say I had no real chance against his tanks because all I had for AP was a short-ranged attack or a Leapers that had to get right up next to him.
Sorry, man.
So I think that it was just like a lot of like on paper it seemed balanced, but they didn't play balanced.
Don, you got to suck it up and bring your Wolverines, because you know what? They solid.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well,
But round 3 of the big game, I had 5 of the 6 show, so I got to play again, but that time I got to play Plague. And the guy I was playing against actually had been hounding Ronnie about Halo at epic scale. He is an old player of the. Do you remember the last Halo mini game that was like at 15 mil?
Yes.
Ground
Certain
control, I think
games.
it was. He was a big fan of that, and he's like, you got the Halo license, you've got Epic, you know what I need. And Ronnie said if it ever happened, that would be the rule set that it was using. So he came over to play Epic because he wanted to see it, in the hopes that he'll get a Halo. And I said, well, you're playing the right faction. He was playing Enforcers. I said, so that's as close as you're going to get to see UNSC Spartans and in Firefights or in Warpath. So, but no, I mean, it was really good. It caught a lot of eyes. I think the table was cool enough that it caught a lot of eyes. By the end of it, like Friday night, I think I got my super heavies out of the case and just put them out on the table. So it just kind of looked like a 12-foot epic scale battlefield with armies moving across it. So yeah, it was pretty sharp looking, I thought. The bosses were all happy with it. So
I felt like it'd be bigger.
Shut up. Blake asked me if we're going bigger next year, and
Yes.
the only problem with going bigger is I would need a second person to run it, because if you add another table, you're adding at least 2 more players, and if you've got 10 people at that table, just one dude, like it works with kings and their big game because one side does their stuff, then the other side does their stuff, right? It's everyone's taking those turns.
Mhm.
But with the alternating activations, you're back and forth between people so much trying to explain the rules that it's really hard to manage. 3 after round 1, my voice was already starting to hurt trying to just get 3 people through simultaneous 1,000-point games. So I think it would look awesome, and I think it would be fun to do an event where we strap together like 4 tables and you had 8 experienced players bring like 2,000-point armies and you had a big narrative battle. I think that would be awesome to do. But I think to run like a 24-foot table of epic, basically demo learn to play, would just be a nightmare to do.
Do you think you needed more groups of people, or do you think you just could do some bigger lists and still have three on each side?
You could go that route, but I think, I guess the question mark that I come to is what are you doing? Like I understand you want it to be a spectacle and you want people to walk by and go, oh, that looks cool, because that, we've been in this hobby long enough. A cool table is one of the first thing that draws you in, right? So there's that aspect of it. But then now you've drawn them in. Are you trying to teach them how to play the game, and is handing them a 2,000-point list the best way to teach somebody that's never played the game in a crowded tournament hall?
Well, I think you'd build your lists around repetitiveness. Like, you don't give them every unit to learn. You could give them repeats, just more of them.
Maybe. How about you run the big game next year, Don, and you expand it out to 24 feet?
No. I've done this.
I'm just saying.
I've already
Hey, we
put my
are
time in.
a Warpath Universe podcast. Should I talk about the Firefight tournament?
Yeah, you can finish up the rest of your tournaments. I didn't play anything else, and you guys played Firefight though.
Yeah, you and Patrick
That's
both
good.
dropped out of Firefight, which is incredibly disappointing.
I dropped out the right way before we even before the tournament, before we even got to Adepticon.
And to Patrick's credit, Chris June brought his nephew with him, Merlin, and Patrick bowed out and Merlin took his spot, so it worked out.
Well, I should say Patrick bowed out so he could take his spot.
Yeah, well, Patrick was questioning whether he was going to play or not anyways.
He wasn't going to leave you hanging, but yeah, somebody else wanted to play and he let him slide in. So
yeah, so yeah, I had a fantastic time at Firefight. Round 1, I got Merlin. I got a win against him because it was like his 3rd game overall, so it was more of like a teaching game. But like we got through like turn 3 and there wasn't much. Brian had called like 10 minutes and I looked at him and was like, do you want to try to push another turn, or do you want to talk about, tactics and strategies and how to use your Forge Fathers in the next game? And he's like, yeah, let's do that. So we kind of just talked about, like, he had a 1,500 point Forge Fathers list, and he had a Stern Hammer in there, and he had I can't remember the name of the APC, but it was full of 2 squads of Thorgrim, and he had an Iron Ancestor, but he like kept the Iron Ancestor and the Stern Hammer on the backboard, so they were never pushing enough to threaten anything. I was like, yeah, dude, you've got so much heavy armor, you just need to get in people's faces. Like, you're gonna lose some dudes, but charge up the table. Get in their faces, because I was playing. I had my all peacekeeper list, and I had some AP. Like, and he made the right shot trying to take out my Nova Shocks because I almost deleted that Stern Hammer, but then he moved it out of range, but kept it in the backboard, so I was able to kind of just move up and sit on some objectives. Round 2, I got Bailey's Night Stalkers, and that was a trip. I left 75 points of his army on the table, and we ended in a draw. I think he maybe took off like 3 of my models. It kind of turned into a bloodbath, but he won an assault and stole my VIP, which kind of put me down in the score early on. So I was in a mad dash to try to sprint my enforcers across the table to get one of his VIPs. And we got like the 10-minute warning, and we were kind of looking at the table, and he had like 2 units left. One of them was carrying the VIP, and one of them had dropped the VIP. He's like, I can't do anything to stop you from getting that. You can't do anything to stop me from getting to the other side of the table and scoring. He's like, so that would make the score a draw. He's like, so I'm content taking a draw if you are. I was like, yeah. So I ended that round in a draw, which put me up against Chris and his Veerman on round 3. I don't know what Jordan's talking about slow play, because Chris and I were through 5 rounds in like an hour and a half.
Damn.
That game was a bloodbath, but it was probably some of the most fun I've ever had playing Firefight. I mean, it was just fistfuls of dice in every direction and models coming off the table at an uncomfortable rate. But I did end up taking the L. I got a loss in that round. So I ended up playing Dan, who took 2nd place in Firefight. I ended up playing him again, but now Epic. Played him in Firefight, and he had his enforcer list. I was not kind to Dan, but Dan doesn't play a lot of Firefight, so yeah, that game got a little messy. About turn 3, we probably could have called it, but we just kept playing. But I ended up going 2-1-1, and nabbed Best Painted Army and Player's Choice. So I got to bring home some bling.
Good job.
Oldana Plague Mule.
Yes, thank you. I was very excited for it.
I could tell. Jordan, you want to go through your games, or?
I mean, just a brief overview, because we are starting to run a little long here.
This is going to be our longest episode.
So, Firefight was a very similar experience to what Epic was for me. Little aggressive
Horrible disappointment.
some of the stuff I took. The last I've been trying to use the engineers for the Marauders. Because they feel like they should be better than I've ever effectively been able to use them. They're kind of in a weird place. And I think putting them in a mule and shoving them up the board super quick and taking out a high yield unit is what you're supposed to be able to do with them. But I've never been efficient in killing things that I figure they should be able to kill things with. But I think it's partly because there's only 5 of them, and it's just, they're not statted bad, but it's just not enough, right?
Right.
And they just don't have enough to, once they're where they need to be with what their range is, they're essentially dead. But I did have fun in all the games I played generally. Even if I did take it on the chin a bit.
You ended up going 1, 1, and 2 with only a paltry 812 kill points for the entire tournament, Jordan.
Yep.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, I had a very assaulty army, and none of my games progressed super long. I think I got through turn 3 once. Well, I think because stuff was out of range and things didn't matter as much. I think the game with Marcel I did get a little farther in Firefight with. But
he brought a stack of GCPS grunts, though, man. He had recruits.
Yeah.
He had a wall of flesh ready to die for the Co-Prosperity Sphere. If there were a night and day list, it was Marcelo and I, where he had like 60 models and I had like 25.
Yeah, with as assault heavy as I was, you either play the objectives or you play for kill points, unless the other side is moving up. And when they don't move up, or at least they don't move up where you're deployed at, right? There can end up being a lot.
You've got to charge.
So there was a lot of that, of just odd placement and non-opportune deployment on both sides of the table in all the games I played.
I had a very similar experience to that last year, especially against Tyler's GCPS, where I couldn't get anything up into range without getting my ass shot off.
With the mission and somewhat the board, and what my list was, because of what we were doing with the VIPs against Marcelo's GCPS, I really have a question with my list for his firing line. Might have fared better against him, might not have in one of the other missions.
Right.
Because the way that one was he had enough more units that he was able to more strategically place his VIPs away from everything than I was.
Well, and he had bodies to screen them the entire time.
Yep. But the draw I had and the loss I had, both came down to a couple of rolls and a little bit of placement. I know the one draw I had, I could have and should have stayed on one objective and decided to spread out and try and take 2 rather than sure. And I took stayed on the 1 because it was the bluff tokens.
Mhm.
So I risked and was not rewarded so much.
Yeah.
And then in my draw game, I should have moved onto something and didn't, and moved away, and because of the how far we didn't get, I definitely cost myself there. But that's why you play the games and why you need to do what you're supposed to do. It's all part of playing smart, right?
Well,
Lesson learned.
overall, Chris ended up winning the tournament with 20 TPs. Second, third, and fourth all tied on tournament points. So it actually had to come down to scenario point tiebreakers, which put Marcelo in second and Bailey's Night Stalkers in third, and me in fourth. But I just want to asterisk that and say if we went on kill points, I won that whole damn tournament. I had 3850 kill points.
That
My
because you
dice.
beat up on the new player first?
No, actually, the new player, I only had like 200 kill points. It was a very light round because we spent so much time talking about the rules and using the stuff that it was more of a teaching game. If I had beat up on him, I might have scrounged up some more scenario points, but neither here nor there.
The
It's-
highlight of my tournament there, and it had nothing to do with it. Well, it did help the outcome of the game, right? I guess I did get work out of my engineers once, so I had initiative against Merlin, and he had a bunch of troops in the big APC for his Forge Fathers.
oh no, you blew up the APC.
So he went first, and then I went, and I activated my mule and moved its for full move, and then was able to charge out of it, and was able to win, quote unquote, the assault the first time out with my engineers popping out and assaulting the transport, which activated everything in it. So it meant he couldn't use those first turn, right? And then the engineers got shot off the table later in turn 1, but the mule somehow survived the rest of the turn. So I was able to double activate and make sure I could go first turn 2. And that mule with 1 hit point left activated it first, and with its 2 dice crappy assault, I ran in and rammed his transport. I did not actually hit with it, but with the way the rules are, I was bumper to bumper with it. We drew the assault because he did not end up dealing damage because his transport wasn't really good at doing any assault damage either. So since he was forced to retreat turn 1, it put him at the very backboard edge. And then in a draw, the defender has to retreat first. So
he couldn't retreat.
He got caught trapped.
You dick.
So I felt bad for doing it, but it felt fun, and it wasn't intentional that it effectively, automatically activated 3 of his units 2 turns in a row. So that was rather fun. And the way the APC was modeled when I rammed it with the mule, I'm like, there should be an automatic rule that he shouldn't have been able to take that ram at all because the front of the thing's a ramp. My mule should have
rammed it.
Ramped it, and the mule should have just been off board because of it. But
my highlight isn't nearly as comedic. I had when I was fighting the Night Stalkers round 2, like Bailey out activated me like 5 or 6 activations. So I finished my last activation, and he like moves up 2 squads of Reapers, a squad of Scarecrows, a couple of his commanders, and like this big monster's creeping up behind him. He's like, "Are you intimidated?" And I had my Peacekeeper captain, one of my Peacekeeper captains on the rooftop, like surrounded by all these monsters. And both of my defenders had my VIPs. They were on the backside of the building, so they had overwatches. But obviously, I had initiative since he out activated me. So the first thing I did was activated my captain on the building, and I was flush with command points because I was running 2 Peacekeeper captains, so I was 2 greens and 3 blacks. Played Council Expects, so just took a long action with my commander since he was standing on the roof. I gunned down both of his Reaper squads. I left like 1, maybe 2. I think 1 in one squad and 2 in the other. Basically, it's like defanged his entire assault. And he's like, "Huh." I was like, that is the most enforcer thing I could have done. Just wiped him out. I had to finish thinning that herd though, and the big monster came around and stole my VIP. So as fun as it was, it didn't pan out exactly how I wanted it, but it was a good moment. Well, that was all of the games, guys. Do you have oh no, one more thing, because Jordan took shit for this all last year after Adepticon because he was like the 6th best player in the whole world. And now after this Adepticon, Jordan is ranked number 17. But I am the 8th best player in the entire world according to the rankings.
Well, why isn't the Epic stuff updated?
I'm going to ask Clive about that tomorrow. I brought it to his attention before, and I don't know if it didn't get addressed, but I noticed that when I was looking for the stats here, our first tournament posted correctly, but the second one does not appear to have. So I will ping him tomorrow and see if I can get an answer on that. Because I want to know who the best Epic player in the world is.
But congratulations on beating Jordan.
Hey man, he set the bar pretty low. So.
I'm set pretty low this year. That's the thing. He might be ranked higher than me, but I don't know. I don't think he wants to talk about the head-to-head battles we've had. So
hey, we played one tryout game before. We tried our list out, and if you weren't sitting on a height 8 building, I don't know. I don't think it'd have been as scary as it ended up being. Stupid rainmakers on a height 8 building so they can shoot through cover.
that wasn't it because they didn't range across. Because I didn't end up out killing you in the practice game. It was I had too many assault guys and like the one.
It was that stroke of genius that I forgot about those brawlers on the other side of the building that stole that VIP. Yeah. There's a reason. When I played that game in the tournament, my defenders got the VIPs because I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna keep them back with that automatic Overwatch activation. Yeah, I learned a lesson from you. Well, I know we're running along, and I know Don said that he wanted to get out of here as quick as possible. So, any thoughts or comments about Adepticon in general this year, guys?
Yeah, this is my first year going to this new location. I didn't get to make it last year. My general thoughts on the new location is that the convention center is amazing. It's a really, really good convention center. I know it was recently updated. I don't know how recently, in the past 10 years or something. Beautiful place, room to grow. I would say maybe almost a little too big currently because there were some things I went to go find and you kind of really had to search for them.
Did you nab that C-Vent app, Don?
I did not end up using the app. Like, I knew where to go to find the stuff. Yeah, I knew where to go to find the stuff, but it just felt like it was like you got off the elevator and you made a turn and it was in this back corner. And so, I mean, it is what it is. It's a big place, so that's just kind of how it goes. I would say the food options that they added outside of the normal convention options were way overpriced.
Yeah.
Day one I bought lunch on site and that was it. It was just like I'm not paying those prices
Yeah,
for the
they
food
were.
that they were offering.
I'm pretty sure they were more expensive than they were last year. I think like the tendies and fries basket was like $17.50.
It's ridiculous. And then
And I owe one of you money for that because one of you brought me lunch during the tournament. So
no, I owe Jordan money. I bought that for you, so now you owe Jordan money.
well, Jordan just
bought
paid me
mine.
money.
Okay, well there you go.
Huh?
Now you owe him twice money.
Like
I have
you owe
to
me.
I have to send
Because
Jordan
I
money
didn't
back.
pay for my the first night when we got the burgers.
That smash burger joint, I wish I'd have gone back. That was a little gem.
Yeah,
Just
I would
right
say.
across the street, not overpriced, good beer selection.
So to add to that, to the food stuff, I thought that it was very poor in immediate area options compared to the old location. At the old location, we had Kuma's, and then you had the deep dish pizza, and there were some other things out there. It was kind of like your regular look forward to places to eat. I would say going back next year, nothing I ate this year
So
is going to be on that
shared-
Well,
list.
you didn't drive anywhere though. Like
Yeah,
No, that's what I'm saying. In the
what was
immediate
walking.
area, there was nothing in the immediate area that I felt like was worth the money to go back to.
But
I know
if
that sports
we're
bar.
downtown Milwaukee, like if we're comparing, like, because we drove to places that were within 3 to 4 miles for the old location, and
Yes,
so we
but
just
I
don't
will.
new area. I'm sure because we were in downtown Milwaukee, like there are other haunts that are just a drive away that we did not attempt to.
Yes, but I will add to that though, in Schaumburg, it was very easy to drive to where you wanted to go.
It just wasn't easy to park when you came back.
Yeah, of course, and you didn't have to. But if we want to go anywhere downtown, we're probably paying for parking.
Mhm.
You gotta get your car out of the parking garage.
Mhm.
You gotta find parking. Like it's not. So that's why I said in the immediate area because of the ease of. Like yes, there are probably amazing restaurants downtown. We could probably get a laundry list, but you're gonna have to get your car out or pay for an Uber.
I
And
was okay with that
all,
sports bar.
Yeah, I was trying to. I just found the picture of it, but I don't. I was far enough away that I don't think I can see the name.
It's like Major Goobies or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know
Gold-
that. Goldsby's, something like that. Jordan, did you have it?
I think it was Goolsby.
yeah, I think that's the correct Goolsby's. I think is.
Did you make it
Yeah.
in there at all, Don?
I did not because you guys ate before I got there. You
Yeah.
didn't invite me.
Jordan and I went there like 3 times last year. It was really
Well,
good.
it was very fair priced. So if you guys aren't aware of, I mean, Adepticon's in Milwaukee. Convention Center is the Baird Center. Some perspective, it was the very, very, very long time home of Gen Con before it moved to Indianapolis in the early 2000s for a bit of history.
Nerd.
Yep. So if any listeners frequent Milwaukee and know must eat restaurants that are close to the convention center, we'll take recommendations.
Yes.
Which we will not forget about by next year. We'll
I
ask
mean-
that question when we get closer to Adepticon
Right.
27.
That would be a better time to bring it up. Yeah. But that was
The
all I had
market
to
wasn't
say
bad,
about it.
though.
Yep. I wouldn't go back to the market next year.
Oh, well, that pizza was pretty tasty.
That market gave me food poisoning.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it gave me the opposite.
I had to drop out of the second night of my doubles tournament for Bllod and Plunder because like I could not. I just could not.
Well, speaking of Blood and Plunder, though, you snagged yourself a medal.
I did. I went 3-0 in the C tournament for Bllod and Plunder, and I've got videos and stuff out and articles,
Hooray for
and
Sting!
yeah, it was a good time. After I absconded from the Mantic area for the week, I went to the Firelock lands and I lived there, and yeah, had an enjoyable Adepticon, and I'm sad I'm not with you guys anymore.
We did get a lot of hangout time in. That was nice. Like at least like the coffee every morning, just like
Right.
shooting the shit, catching up, figuring out what everyone was doing for the day.
Yeah, I think having the
Good
same
time.
hotel room, even if we're like not always playing the same games, is something we should strive for, just so we can at least have that morning kind of meet up or whatever.
Well, I aim to stay at that same spot that was the Hyatt
Hyatt
because
Regency.
yeah, it's
But
the quickest way to get into the convention center as far as I'm concerned.
We paid a little more for.
Yeah, I do give
Go
you
ahead.
that, but I don't actually like that location. The place that our buddy Chesney was at has free breakfast in the morning, so I think
Oh,
I
well.
might be trying that place next year.
I room with 4 people, and those rooms at the Hyatt are huge. Like there was 2 guys on cots, 2 guys on the beds, and we had ample room.
I room with Gordo, and we had more room than we knew what to do with.
Mhm.
I think we paid the only drawback in the Hyatt. We paid I think twice as much as you did for parking, Josh. But everything like we literally were able to pull the stuff out of the car into the skywalk and over to the tournament center or over to the tournament hall. So that
Yes.
paying for that convenience on loading and unloading was I think
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, parking for the week was $125. So if what was your parking, Josh?
Like 54.
So we paid a $70 convenience fee. So split that between the two of us. We paid
$35
a
convenience fee.
$35 convenience fee to not have to haul our shit as far.
Yeah, and I still broke my pub glass.
Yeah, dude, the haul to get your crap to your car at Gen Con is a nightmare. So I agree. Just paying that few dollars more just to be able to go straight into the parking garage from after you check out is amazing.
Well, now, mind you, you can always drop off at the you can valet or not valet, but you can.
Yeah, you can pull your car up to the
go
front
to the
and
white
drop
zone
crap
for the
off,
loading and
but
unloading of passengers.
there was also the other 100,000 people attending Gen Con, so
Yes.
Well, we should probably get this closed out. I know Don wanted to be off of here earlier than we are now, and we are running a double episode here. So, some real quick upcoming events. Dragon's Lair down in Columbus is hosting an Epic Warpath tournament on April 26th. It's a great day. Everyone should go. I'm going to go play some Enforcers. There is talks of an event at Origins Game Fair in June, but we don't have confirmation whether or not Sam will be able to run it or not. He's still waiting to hear back from Origins about getting it set. And
good
then
luck with that.
right. Friends to all, Kyle Poole is looking to start up an Ohio GT at the casino down in Columbus. He has booked some space, and there's going to be Kings and Epic and maybe Firefight and Halo and I think a couple of other games already. But that's going to be in October. It's looking like Michigan Grand Tournament is not going to happen again due to a lot of internal stuff with the owners there. So Kyle is trying to see if he can get an Ohio GT stood up, and this would be the first year for it. So if you're in the Pinned and Broken Facebook group or any of the Kings or Epic Fanatics groups on Facebook or the Discords. Just kind of keep an eye open for that coming. I'm sure as Kyle gets more information, he'll get it posted. And if he doesn't, I will beat it out of him and share it with you. I like to talk tough when Kyle's not around because he's a large human. Other than that, do we want to do hobby desk quick? Do you guys got anything fun to talk about on your hobby desks?
I'm currently working on a Blood Bowl team, Nurgle Blood Bowl team. I have a Blood Bowl league starting.
You're working on a
next
Dread Ball team?
Friday. No. I have a league starting next Friday. So technically I gave my practice game tomorrow, and then next Friday we start a league. So that's priority on my desk.
Good luck. Josh, how about you?
Well, I've dived into the Trident realm because Jordan's making us paint things, or at least I opened my mouth and said I would paint Kings of War Army. So I've got actually a really giant Twilight or Trident realm force that I've assembled, and I'm about 20 models into fully painted. Just about. They're like 90% there. So, yeah.
How come you haven't posted any pictures yet?
I've been busy.
So you got 2 regiments done?
Yeah. I think, because they're the 10-man, 2 10-man units. Whatever
10-man units. Oh, so 1 regiment.
I don't know how this works. I'm just painting models.
Just painting them and sticking as many on the base that'll fit. Gordo, what about you? What's on your desk?
So been a little slower the past couple of weeks, but more King stuff. Keep plugging away more so on the salamanders. So actually just one of my one of my Adepticon purchases were AK quick markers. And I was actually playing around with a couple of those tonight, painting as we were talking, painting a couple of salamander primes, seeing how they worked out. Pretty similar color, red and turquoise to what I'd gone with for the army painter stuff for my salamander primes before. So nice little different option, and that I can just pop out a marker and brush the stuff on. These have I think I'm liking these a little bit better than the speed paint markers because they have more of a bendy brush tip. So it's a little bit better for what we're doing. It feels like it transfers since it's their quick markers, it's their quick shade or quick mark. It's what their answer to speed paint is, right? So, the amount of volume of paint that you want to work onto the model is a little higher, right? Mm-hmm. One of my troubles with speed paint markers is with the very hard tip. It doesn't. There's no capillary action, and it feels like there's a little bit better capillary action with these, even though they're both being markers. Both of them were very, very heavy-handed, right? So there's definitely limitations to what you can achieve with them, but it does let you paint without a rinse cup or a pot or a brush.
Any of the things that you normally need to paint,
right? So we'll see how I like them long term, but
fun to play with for now.
Yep. And I figure I gotta do probably 10, 20 more of these guys so I could have a couple of hordes if I wanted to, but I'm leaning towards going a extremely heavy fire elemental list just because I more like the looks of them. played salamanders without having any salamanders in the army. Other than hearing from a few much more experienced Kings players than I might be unintentionally going heavy
sticking your list.
on a unit that maybe is too efficient for their points at the moment.
Well, you do like numbers. Let's see. I painted some King stuff I can't talk about. I'll talk about it when I can. I'm currently going against all of Don's suggestions and taking up commission painting. So I'm painting a bunch of Conquest, Last Argument of Kings, city-state models right now. I've got 4 Minotaur on the desk behind me, almost done, and only 60 more models to go. Should have that done next week. Then I've got another model that just came off my printer I can't talk about that I'm going to paint.
You should just skip this whole segment.
Right.
Yeah,
damn.
well, I'm painting so much shit, but I'm actually, I can't tell you what it is yet. I'm excited
Some
though.
shit.
I'm painting literal piles of shit. I've got some
Damn.
Halo stuff I have to paint, but
Well, you don't want to talk about it.
Josh got into Trident Realms because he might have ended up splitting a couple of Claws in the Sand starter boxes with me. And that means I got my dumbass into some Zerkali, and I didn't just...
the kitty cats.
They're doggos. They're not
Oh,
kitty
dog,
cats.
sorry. I get the dog, whatever.
I didn't just go order a dragon, a hero, and some cavalry for them, but yeah, I've got a bunch of Zerkali calling my name because they seem to be Kings of War enforcers, where I'm only going to have to paint like 25 of them to get a full army, and I'm much happier about that.
I will say the add-on where you can like add the pug heads or like the wolfhound faces is brilliant, because like I looked at that, I was like, oh man, I would do a whole army of wolfhound dogs.
Oh, see, because I'm like, I could do a whole army of pugs. I won't. They've got kind of like fox/German Shepherd looking heads, and at least my matriarch, I'm gonna paint up after my late German Shepherd, who I love dearly. So, that'll be a fun project, and I'm assuming because they've got that Chinese inspired armor, so I'm probably gonna dig through some like Chinese dynasties and see if I can find a cool red color scheme, because I don't have any red armies, But yeah, that's about it. That's about it for me. That's all I'm working on.
You got a red PHR army.
I've got a red Asterion army too. I was being facetious because like red is like my go-to color.
Oh, okay.
There's red on my enforcers, but I ended up with the white armor because I liked that stormtrooper look. Well, I think we are quickly coming up on the 2-hour mark. We don't normally talk this long, so we should probably wrap this thing up. If you're not following us on Facebook, there's the Pinned and Broken Facebook group. You can also, like and leave raving reviews about our podcast anywhere you listen to said podcasts. You can catch a lot of the content that we talk about as far as the games. Josh shot battle reports for 3 rounds of the Epic Warpath tournament that'll be posting up on the Gamer Direct YouTube channel. Josh, what channel are you posting your Bllod and Plunder stuff on, Josh?
My Windward channel. I mean, I don't promote that stuff, but it's if you go to like bloodandpigment.com, a lot of the Adepticon recap videos have links to the battle reports included in them. So
listen, you're here. I'm gonna pimp you, boy.
All right.
All right. Well, other than that, in the immortal words of Jordan, careful how you wash, and we'll we'll talk to you guys next time.